Hey boys and girls, welcome to the lecture 31 of this course, which is named Chemistry. The code for this particular course is CH101 for odd semester and CH201 for even semester. And what we people are basically doing, we are doing the module which is called Industrial Chemistry, and Industrial Chemistry basically contains 4 different chapters. The first chapter was corrosion that we people have completed. The first chapter was water that we people have completed. This was followed by the second one, that is corrosion, that also we people have completed. And we are doing the third one, which is polymers. And we are on the verge of completion of this third chapter. That is, we are in the third and final lecture of this polymers, which is none other than the polymers part 2. Okay. After this, we'll see one more lecture of drugs, right? So that will be coming right away after this lecture. Okay, and that will be lecture number 32. Okay, so this particular industrial chemistry is the module 4, and we have already completed 3 different modules named inorganic chemistry, organic chemistry, and physical chemistry. Now, as you know that this is the last and final lecture of the polymers, which is the part 3 of the polymers lecture. And here in this particular lecture, we are going to see different type of topics, right? Diversified topics we'll see. The first being the biodegradable polymers, that how biodegradable polymer works, how they are prepared, what are biodegradable polymers, that people will be seeing in this particular lecture, right? Followed by thermosetting and thermoplastic polymers, which are very, very important in turn. And last but not least, we'll see different type of polymers, their corresponding monomers, their preparation property and uses. So this lecture is going to be very interesting. So stay tuned till the end of the lecture, and let us see what happens in this lecture gradually. So we are starting from the very first example, or the very first topic, that is none other than biodegradable polymers. Okay, so in this particular term, what we people are having, first let us see what is written here, then we will discuss about the fact in detail. Okay, so a large number of polymers are quite resistant to the environmental degradation process, thus are responsible for accumulation of polymeric solid waste materials, right? So as you know, waste is a big thing, right? Waste can be solid, liquid or gas. We have seen that solid waste leads to land pollution, liquid waste leads to water pollution, whereas the gaseous waste leads to air pollution. Okay, and also there are some other things. People who are waste, they create noise pollution. Okay, don't be serious, I'm just joking. So basically the thing is, yes, polymers also create pollution, and plastic pollution is one of the major pollution problems that happens in today's life. Okay, both for water as well as for land. Okay, so they are saying that environmental degradation process is responsible for accumulation of polymeric solid material. This solid material cause acute environmental problem and remaining undegraded for a long time. Yes, we know that plastic pollution is one of the major pollution problems that happens in today's world, right? And this plastic is nothing but polymer. So polymer creates huge problem during its degradation, right? In view of the general awareness and concern for the problems created by polymeric waste, synthetic new biodegradable polymers have been designed and developed, right? So we humans, we make good things, we make bad things too. So if polymers are good, definitely the truth of life is that with all good, some bad will come up, right? Automatically, advantage and disadvantage always comes together. So whenever polymer was made, our life changed, our life became easier, but gradually the bad side was yet to see, and hence what happened, this type of environmental problems came into being. Land pollution, air pollution, water pollution came into being. But again, we are humans, we try to develop everything. We are scientists, we are engineers. What we people have done, we people have produced synthetically biodegradable polymers. Now basically it is not the work of engineers, it is the work of us who are the chemists to form these different type of materials, right? It is entirely our work. So the chemists have prepared the new biodegradable synthetic polymers that have been designed and developed. These polymers contain functional groups similar to the functional groups present in biopolymers. Okay. So as they're biopolymers, they will be degraded biologically. That was the idea basically. If these are biopolymers, then what will happen? They will degrade biologically and will get our desirable answer. Okay. So that's how it is. Let us see what example of biodegradable polymer we are having and how this polymer actually is formed, right? So poly beta hydroxyburate co-beta hydroxyvalerate, PHBV, the most common biodegradable polymer that we are having. It is obtained by the copolymerization of 3-hydroxybutanoic acid and 3-hydroxypentanoic acid and is used in packaging, orthopedic devices, and in controlled release of drugs. PHBV undergoes bacterial degradation in environment. That's why it is biodegradable polymer. It is so important that bacteria can degrade this particular polymer. Hence, it can be used for controlled release of drugs, or it can be used for packaging material, or it can be used for orthopedic devices. Why? Because once they are thrown away, they will be degraded by bacteria, and the environment in which we live, our mother, will be safe from the hands of plastic pollution and polymer pollution, right? So this is biodegradable polymer, PHBB. Now let us see what this PHBB, how this PHBB is formed basically. So as you can see, this is 3-hydroxybutanoic acid. This is the hydroxy position. This will be 1, this will be 2, this will be 3, and this is 4. So 3-hydroxybutanoic acid, another is 3-hydroxypentanoic acid. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is OH. So 3-hydroxy, 5 carbons of pentanoic acid. Okay, and this is polybeta hydroxyburate, polybeta hydroxyvalerate, right? This particular whole compound. Okay, it is named as such. Right, so this was all about the biodegradable polymers. Let us go to the next slide. Okay, so in the next slide, what we are having thermosetting and thermoplastic polymers. Now, what thermosetting and thermoplastic polymers are, that we are going to see here. So thermoplastic are nothing but plastic, and thermosetting is something different from plastic. Let's see. So first of all, thermoplastics are long chained, straight chained carbon compounds, whereas thermosetting are cross-linked carbon compounds. Now this implies that thermoplastic will be less durable, thermosetting will be more durable, because cross-linking actually strengthens the molecule. Okay, formation of addition polymerization formed by condensation or step growth polymerization. This one is addition, this one is condensation. Fine. Low strength compared to thermosets, more strength compared to thermal. I have already told you that if linear single chain will be there, see, we have learned in our very childhood that if you have one string, it will break easily. If you have multiple strings, it will not break that easily. So it is the same funda. If single chain is there, then it will be less durable, it will break easily, it will be having much less strength compared to cross-linked compounds, which will be having more strength. Okay, it can be processed again and again, cannot be processed again or recycled. Example is polythene, example is bakelite or epoxy resins, right? So very interesting thing. Okay, next we have type of polymers and corresponding monomers. So what are polymers, what are monomers? Let us find out. First of all, we need to see our first example is nothing but Teflon. Now you have 10 seconds to tell me where you have seen Teflon or where it is used. I believe the kitchen present at your home contains Teflon. Some things present at your home, the kitchen contains Teflon. Remember, find it out, right? If not, then just I'm telling you, just remember that the non-stick utensils that we use has a black coating. In fact, this particular black coating is present on my iron also. Iron means the thing that is used to press clothes, right? On electric iron, that also this particular coating is present, right? This particular coating is also present in the non-stick cookware, and this is nothing but Teflon coating. Okay, why this particular coating is added? So that less oil consumption is there and less sticking problem will be there. Okay, so let us see what is written. Teflon is manufactured by heating tetrafluoroethane with a free radical or per-sulfate catalyst at high temperature. Tetrafluoroethane. See, tetrafluoroethane is the monomer of formation of Teflon. So this particular tetrafluoroethane is combining to form monomer repeating unit. So this particular process is what? I'm writing it out. This is addition polymerization. Okay. It is chemically inert and resistant to attack by corrosive reagents, and it is used in making oil seal, gasket, and also non-stick cookware. Okay, so this is tetrafluoroethane. As you people can see, n times it is being repeated to form Teflon. Under catalyst, it is given here only per-sulfate catalyst and high pressure. Right? Okay, so this was Teflon. Let us go to the next slide. What we are having next? Polyacrylonitrile. Okay, so this is again one addition condensation, one addition polymerization product. Here addition of acrylonitrile in presence of peroxide catalyst occurs. Right, this is acrylonitrile CH2CHCN. Here catalyst is given, polymerization occurs, we are getting polyacrylonitrile. Okay, it is used for it is used as substitute of wool in making commercial fibers. Basically, Orlon and acrylan, these are the common names of the compound polyacrylonitrile. These are brand names, basically common names. In market, you will be unable to find polyacrylonitrile, but if you say acrylan or Orlon, then you will easily get it out. Right? Okay, so this was the second one. Third one is nylon 6,6. Okay, so what is nylon 6,6? First of all, whenever the name nylon comes to us, what we think? We think Dunlop factory, right? One of the major factories producing nylon. So why nylon is used and what the compound is, that we'll discuss in detail. It is prepared by condensation polymerization of hexamethylene-diamine and adipic acid, right? Hexamethylene-diamine and adipic acid under high pressure, high temperature. Okay, so if somebody asks you that what are the monomers of nylon, what we are going to say? We are going to say it is formed by the combination of hexamethylene-diamine and adipic acid. Okay, nylon 6,6 is fiber forming solid process. High tensile strength characteristics can be attributed to the strong intermolecular forces like hydrogen bonding. These forces lead to close stacking of chains and thus impart crystalline structure. It is used for making sheets, bristles for brushes, and in textile industry. So basically, let us find out again what we have done. So it is strong. It has intermolecular forces. It contains hydrogen bonding, and this strong forces leads to some crystalline type of structure. The basic use is the making of nylon sheets along with bristles of brush that we use, and it is also used in textile industry. Okay, now this is what and this is what? Tell me. This one is adipic acid, this one is hexamethylene diamine. Okay, again I'm saying this one is adipic acid, this one is hexamethylene diamine in presence of high temperature pressure. This particular compound is nylon 6,6, right? As condensation product, as it is condensation, so here n times H2O is being released, because it is a prime condition for condensation that some of the small molecules like H2O, HCl or hydrogen will be removed. Okay, so that is how it is going on. What's next? Okay, now we are having nylon 6. Now what is nylon 6? It is just like nylon 6,6 but is formed in a different way. It is formed by heating caprolactam with water at high temperature. It is used in manufacture of tire cords, fabrics and ropes, right? This particular round shape of thing is called caprolactam. What happens basically in presence of heat and water, this ring breaks down to form this particular unit, which is called nylon 6. Basically this unit is a repeating unit and this will repeat on and will form nylon 6. Okay, and this is formed by heating of caprolactam, which is a 7-membered ring. Okay, so it is basically used in the manufacture of tire cords, fabrics and ropes, right? Next we have melamine formaldehyde polymer. Okay. So melamine formaldehyde polymer is formed by the condensation polymerization of melamine and formaldehyde, as the name itself says, used for the manufacture of unbreakable crockery. You use Laupala set, you use dinner set, you use coffee mugs, all are made of melamine. Melamine is nothing but the compound made for baking, used for making crockery. So your dinner sets of Laupala or some other Chinese sets, all this are nothing but melamine. Okay, melamine formaldehyde polymer. Right now, how it is formed? Basically, this is the compound melamine. Let us screen it out. This compound is nothing but melamine, and it reacts with formaldehyde to form this particular compound, which is nothing but a resin intermediate. Again, this particular thing finally undergoes polymerization to form melamine polymer. Okay, so again I am saying melamine, the compound, this is called melamine. It reacts with formaldehyde to form this resin intermediate, which in turn reacts among itself to form melamine polymer. Okay, so that's how it is. Next, neoprene. This neoprene is nothing but synthetic rubber, and it is formed from chloroprene. Okay, let's see how it occurs. So neoprene or polychloroprene is formed by free radical polymerization of chloroprene. It has superior resistance to mineral and vegetable oil. It is used for manufacturing conveyor belt, gasket, hose, etc. How it is happening? This is chloroprene. Yes, whenever we are saying prene, this neoprene is nothing but synthetic rubber. Remember this. Okay, isoprene is the natural rubber, neoprene is the synthetic rubber. That we people know, I guess. Okay, so chloroprene, this is chloroprene. It undergoes polymerization to form neoprene. Why this is neo? Because neo type of compound is formed here. Okay, isoneo, this compounds, I think you know it from your knowledge of class 12. Okay, next we are having bunaene. What is bunaene? It is obtained by copolymerization of 1,3-butadiene. This is written again, just cut it out. 1,3-butadiene and acrylonitrile in the presence of peroxide catalyst. So here we are having peroxide catalyst. This is my 1,3-butadiene, this is my acrylonitrile, and this is their combination, their product, bunaene. Okay, already I have discussed with you whenever we have studied bunaene. It is resistant to action of petrol, lubricant oil and organic solvent, hence is used for making tank sealing, tank lining and oil seals, right? So main function of bunaene is nothing but oil seal and tank lining. Okay, so this was all about the topics that we are doing. In this particular lecture, we have seen what different type of compounds are there, what different type of polymers are there. Now let us have a quick recap of all the 3 lectures of polymers that we people had, and that only will help us to understand in brief that what has happened, right? So basically polymer chapter contained 3 lectures, part 1, part 2 and part 3. This is the part 3 of the lecture, so we have come up at the end of part 3, that is the polymers, and what we people have seen in this lecture 29, 30 and 31, that we'll discuss here. First of all, in lecture number 29, we people have seen that polymers are compounds which are formed by monomers, repeating unit of monomers, and they can be formed by 2 processes, either addition polymerization or condensation polymerization, that we people have seen. Also we have seen what are the types of polymers, what are the characteristics of polymers, right, and how polymers are important for us, that we people have also seen in that particular lecture. In addition, we have studied the differences between HDPE and LDPE in the first lecture only. There is a part 1 of this particular polymers, lecture number 29. Okay, after that in lecture number 30, there is a second lecture or part 2 of the polymers. We people have seen what are the different types of conducting polymers, what is rubber, what are homopolymers, what are copolymers, how homopolymers and copolymers are different from each other, what is vulcanization of rubber, why it is important, how rubber is used, okay, where rubber is formed. All these things we have studied in detail in the second part of this particular topic, which is called polymers, right? And in the last and final topic in this particular lecture, we have come across for the first time the biodegradable polymers. So after biodegradable polymers we have studied in detail, we have seen what is this particular thing, thermostatic and thermoplastic polymer. We have read about the difference that is present here, and after that we have seen the type of polymers and the corresponding monomers, how the different types of polymers are formed, the reactions and all we people have clearly explained here in this particular lecture, right? So this was all about the polymer lecture. We will meet again with the drugs part, that is the last and final lecture of this industrial chemistry. So till then, you study polymers, stay safe and stay happy. Thank you so much. See you in the next lecture.